Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another video. And I just want to give you 3 tips that you can use, 3 tactics and 3 things that will help you book more meetings right now as an appointment setter, okay? So make sure you like, you comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I want to make this very quick, I want to make this very actionable. And most importantly, I want these 3 tips to be able to help you book more meetings as soon as you click off this video. Let's say you watch this video right now, you're taking a work break, and then you come back to your inbox and you start booking appointments again. You try these 3 things and lo and behold, you book more meetings that day than normal. So I want that to happen. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want you to keep in mind is making the perfect balance between building rapport and keeping frame. So when it comes to building rapport, all that basically means is building a tight connection with you and the prospect. That could be you relating with them relating with you, them basically liking you. Rapport is basically another word of saying liking and trusting you. So on one end of the scale, we have rapport, and then on the other end of the scale, we have keeping frame. And all keeping frame essentially means is your version of reality versus their version of reality. It's what you live by, it's what sort of principles you live by, what kind of rules you abide by, and how you want things to go in your reality versus how they want things to go in their reality, their rules, their decisions, etc. All right. And when it comes to appointment setting, when it comes to sales, when it comes to negotiation and persuasion, frame is very important because we want people to fall into our frame. That's how people do the things that we want them to do. That's how we get people to make decisions we want them to make, right? So as an appointment setter, we obviously want to book them in for a meeting. That's our whole goal, right? And then in terms of the prospect though, what they want is they want to extract as much information out of you as possible and not giving you anything in return, or maybe denying help. Maybe they're a bit scared to invest in themselves. They're scared to invest in another course or a program. They don't want to pay for anything. They just want to get help for free. All right. So it's a battle between 2 frames, and your frame just has to come out on top. And one of the best ways you can keep frame is by be the one asking questions. Be the one asking questions so you can direct where the conversation goes. So that's frame for you guys. I hope that makes sense. Now, what the really, really good appointment setters do, the ones who make a lot of money, the ones who even build a really long-lasting relationship with their prospects and soon-to-be clients, is they have a great balance between building rapport and keeping frame. Because if you build too much rapport but there's no frame, they're just going to walk all over you, take advantage of you, and you're not going to end up getting the meeting. And then obviously the business owner is not going to be very happy, the closer is not going to be very happy because you're being too friendly and you're letting them walk all over you, right? But if you have too much frame, if you try and force your frame too much, but you're missing the element of them liking you and trusting you and getting along with you, they're just going to view you as an asshole, and they're probably not going to book as well. Like, you're just gonna look way too pushy, way too needy, and it's not gonna work out. So we need a balance, a very, very good balance between the 2 elements of building rapport, or having rapport, and having frame. So one of the ways you can do this is ways to build rapport. Obviously, you want to keep rapport the entire conversation. Obviously, keep relating with them, keep empathizing with them, keep listening to their pains if they're telling you their pains or their goals or their struggles or their passions. But at the same time, be the one asking questions that lead closer and closer to the booked call. So I hope that makes sense. Be the one asking questions that leads you closer to the book call. These are most likely going to be qualifying questions. These are going to be questions that dig into their pain more, or these are going to be questions that draw out more of their desire, that gets them to talk more about their goals. So that gets them more excited. When they're more excited to talk about their goals and they're in that state, they're going to want to take action more because they're more excited, right? If you're talking more about their pain, if you get to dive into that more, then things are going to hurt more in their head, and then therefore they're going to want to take action more. And when someone wants to take action, what do? They book in a call with you. All right. So there's a fine balance between having rapport and also having frame. So number 1 is aim to have a perfect balance between the 2. Number 2 is using something called validation, and this is something I've been using for many years. And all validation is, or giving validation, all that means in my terms is just saying things like, "Oh yeah, totally makes sense. Oh yeah, for sure," or "Yeah, makes sense," or "Oh, gotcha," "Oh, cool." These encouraging words, these encouraging phrases, almost after every time they speak, almost after every message that they send you, And then after that, you can lead it on with the questions. You can be like, oh, totally makes sense. I guess what's your goals for these next 6 months then? Instead of just them telling you the answer to the last question that you said, and then you coming up with another question. Just being straight, like, okay, and what are your goals for the next 6 months? After you literally just asked about their goals. Because then the problem with that, with just asking question after question, is it sounds like an interview. It sounds like an interrogation. They feel like they're being interrogated here, and then obviously that's gonna turn them off. They're probably not gonna want to book a call with you. Okay, so if you're asking questions too much like that, then that breaks rapport. Kind of like what we talked about earlier. But instead, how you want to sound less interviewee, how you would want to sound less like an interrogator, is by always validating them, constantly reassuring them, showing that you're listening, because that's what validation does. It makes them feel heard, shows them that you're listening, and it also makes them feel important. So you'll be like, I totally agree, or yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense, man, or okay, gotcha, or basically those kind of phrases. You have to come up with your own. It's pretty simple, but such a simple tweak like that has helped me a lot with keeping the frame, but also maintaining rapport and showing that I'm listening. Okay, so the second tip I can give you is to throw in more validation, throw in more encouraging phrases like that, just to show that you trust them, they trust you, they can share whatever, they can share a lot more about their situation, makes them more comfortable to do so, and it just leads to them trusting you and wanting to book the meeting more, and obviously you're booking more meetings. So that's the second thing. And then now the third and final thing I want to impart with you guys is selling the meeting. The idea of selling the meeting, not the product. Sell the meeting, not the service. So what a lot of setters do, and they fall into the trap of doing so, is they go into selling the product or the service that they're selling. What I mean by that is they start talking about the price, they start talking about what's inside, what kind of modules there are, about the coaching calls, about the community, about all the technical stuff that does not need to be talked about, and that is the closer's job to talk about those things. So what your job as a setter, you got to remember, like, your job as a setter is qualify them enough, book them in for a meeting. Qualify them enough, book them in for a meeting. Just keep doing that at scale. Keep the calendar full. Like, don't spend too much time or way too much time on a certain prospect and having to explain yourself, having to explain all the nitty-gritty details about the product or the service or the coaching program or the course or the mentorship or the agency service, right? You don't need to do that, guys. Just get them on the call. So that's why we want to switch from selling the product/service mindset to selling the meeting mindset. All the things that we've done already, having rapport, having frame, validating them, hearing about their pains, hearing about their challenges and their struggles, as well as their goals and what they want to do for the future and why they want to change. That's all going to help, that's all going to help sell the idea of them hopping on a meeting. Because when they're in that state, when they've told you all those things and they're in pain and they have desire to, they're going to want to hop on a call. They're going to want to take action. All right. So just sell the meeting, sell the idea of hopping on a meeting. The whole point of having a meeting or a sales call or a strategy session or a discovery call, whatever you guys want to call it, or one-on-one, the whole point of that is to see if we can help them out, if the business can help them out with their current problems and their current struggles and get them closer to their future desires, and potentially offer them what they need to help solve those problems. And if not, it's totally fine. They can point them in the right direction. That's the whole point. Business is all about serving and giving. So you want to sell the meeting that way. That's the whole point of them hopping on the meeting. So if they start to understand that business is going to be that way and how that's what they're going to run into, and that's going to benefit them either way, whether they decide to move forward or not, then that makes it more likely for them to hop on the meeting. So you want to sell the meeting. Don't start talking about the product, the service, the nitty-gritty, the technicals. Just sell the meeting, okay? Don't worry about the product or the service. Let the closer do that, because when they're on the phone, they're already in a buying state, and then it's the closer's job as well too. Like, the prospect has to know, if they're going to make a decision, what they're getting themselves into. But it's not your job, it's the closer's job. Okay, so sell the meeting, guys. Don't sell the product/service. If you think about it, if you had cancer, God forbid, touch wood, I'll touch wood later, but let's say, God forbid, you had cancer and you were walking into a doctor's office and they said they had the cure for cancer. You wouldn't really care. I mean, the doctor wouldn't really care, and it wouldn't be in their best interest to talk about the technicals, how they're gonna do this and that. Then you have to go through this x-ray and then that x-ray, and then you have to take this medicine and then that medicine. Surely you might do this, just an example, but because the pain is so great, like you have cancer, like for example you have cancer, the doctor has the solution to that cancer. It doesn't matter how you do it, how you solve it, they just want to get rid of the cancer. Okay, so if you think about it that way, if you just sell the meeting, not the product or the service, they couldn't care less about the product or the service or what's inside. They may ask about it briefly just to be curious, but they're not going to obsess over it. They're only going to obsess whether you can solve their problems or not. So it's not in your best interest to start breaking down a list of what's inside and the technicals and all the whole journey, if that makes sense. They just see you can solve their problem. If you can, that's amazing. Get them on the call, and then the rest is history. All right. If they can't, no worries. Point you in the right direction. So that's the third and last thing. Sell the meeting, not the service or the product. And yeah, we're gonna wrap it up today. I hope those 3 tips, those very, very applicable tips, these very, very like quick tips that you can apply right now, I hope they help you book more meetings today or this coming week. Try them out, use them in tandem. And any more questions, just let me know, comment it down below. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. There's one more slot for mentorship this May, so link in the description to take that last slot, to potentially take that last slot. We'll see if you're a good fit. Just like how I explained, if working with me is going to help me solve your problems or help you solve your problems, then we'll move forward. But if not, totally fine. I'll point you in the right direction. But if you are ever interested, link in the description to work with me in the community in the Oracle. And anyways, I'll see you in the next one.